So when we asked for epiphanies for all, did I think that I was going to be exempt from that? How are you going, Erin, today?
Oh my gosh, I have got my popcorn ready. I am ready for this. I am so excited.
Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh. So the reason why Erin and I are having a conversation today is because I have had my Akashic records read, fully read, by the fantastic, amazing, incredibly gifted, so profoundly gift to humanity, our dear friend Kitty, who has been fully activated just so fresh and recently with her profound experiences. This year alone has been profound for many, and she is definitely expanding at a rapid rate, as I guess we all feel like we are doing. And so, I mean, you personally, you jumped queue, you little tart, Erin, and you got your Akashic records read, and you were in that life has meaning now. I understand the world and who I am.
Yeah. Oh, it was so incredible. And that's kind of an understatement, right?
Yeah, the session that I had with Kitty was beyond profound. Like, profound means nothing.
Yep. Yep. Oh, it's so amazing.
I,
And I cannot wait to hear about it.
wow, yeah. Um, I have had many experiences exploring different parts of me in these, QHHT and BQH sessions, and I've been a little bit curious and sort of asked in some channelings as well, and been given certain sort of stuff. But as we know, this lifetime is the most important lifetime of all. Because we're living it now and we need to master all of the experiences and lessons and be of service because it's part of our life contracts, here and now kind of thing. I was not expecting the level of information, not just about me personally and my soul's growth and journey, but the history of not just this world, but other pre-worlds that were created and explored. And it's like the history of this planet and how it came to be. And it was a 2 hour session. Blown, we were chatting afterwards at the end, as friends do. So whew, it was a lot. So see if I can explain it to you, Erin. I know you haven't listened to it, but I will try because I want to process it myself. And so I will. Let's see if I can explain this. And so everyone get familiar with the idea that we were all part of Source. Source wanted experiences, so part of Source broke away from itself to have individual experiences, which would be then what we would call our higher selves. And so they separated from Source, not because there was an argument or anything like that. It was just having a different individual experience. And so Source is consciousness, and so are our higher selves. But it was about doing sort of other projects and experiences. And so commonly, when I've heard about higher selves, they are the creators of planets. So then they could have smaller fractal versions of selves experiencing those physical planets. And so it was about learning how my home planet is my first physical home planet. I didn't create that. My higher self didn't create that for a physical version to experience that. It was created by others, but that was a first physical enjoyment experience of a planet and soul fragments having relations and having experiences together. And then they got to go to other planets and share that love and that connection and help those beings have those experiences and watch them evolve. And part of the traveling and exploring the universe was being able to journey to have lives on other planets. And one of those other planets that I had connections to was Arcturus, the planet. We didn't explore lifetimes there, but what I learnt is part of the, I don't want to say it's the higher self, it's a lower version of the higher self, so a smaller fractal part, maybe an arm, shall we say, for this, of the higher self, was in the council for the Arcturians to be able to help them and guide them through their life experiences on Arcturus. And so part of that role was helping them with their life contracts. And as a group, so going back to our home planet, we would want to have different experiences to support different worlds and different planets. And some of us chose to embody a full planet and have those experiences and be guides and support those living on that planet for all experiences, all life contracts. And so moving forward, the being from that home planet decided that wanted to have a walk-in experience on a different planet which had dragons. There was a planet that had that was really specifically designed for the dragon collectives and that those beings, those species, and the planet had really evolved. The dragons that were living and occupying that planet had already mastered their connections and relationships and their personal experiences of being a dragon. And so they had evolved. While there were still some dragons living on that planet, there was many beings, many different species that were almost orphans or traveling and stopped at this planet, and they wanted to make that planet their current home. And so there was many different beings there, some of them what we would call maybe refugees or wanted to have different experiences. This planet was sort of very rudimentary, but it was a perfect experience for them to stay and learn and grow and explore. Of course, it was the home planet for the dragons, and as more and more different collectives, different species, different beings came and embodied and had experiences on this dragon planet, they grew and thrived, but also there was starting to be conflict. And so the dragons oversaw unity and love of all. But as the numbers grew and the demands and experiences sort of clashed with each other, it was a working in progress to make all of the collectives and all the beings be in working harmony and respect. And of course, having dragons as, I don't know, I want to say overlords, it's not really, but they're very intimidating. So you don't fuck with a dragon, you know. And so that's how they kept and encouraged and inspired all beings to have respect, unity, and to be harmonious and in balance with one. And so they decided themselves, as they were growing and evolving, that they wanted to have their own planets to explore and to be able to master and evolve into. And it was like, okay, cool, all of these species and beings, we thrive in this planet, we respect all, we understand all, we have unity of all. Thank you, dragons, for sharing this guidance and wisdom with us. Let us have now our own planets to thrive on and repeat and see how we evolve as our own species. And so they were given access to and had planets created. And this is where I feel like Arcturus and the Palladians were all created from all of this. All of the species on this planet of the dragons got given their own constellations and worlds to explore and discover and grow from. And so, unfortunately, fast forward in time, they sort of forgot that unity because they weren't having to be forced to live together in a community and have dragons reminding them firmly of their responsibilities to have that unity. They thought that they could separate from the dragon worlds and be able to grow and remind themselves of that and expand in a really healthy way. And unfortunately, some collectives forgot that and they wanted to take over. They did damage and they sort of forgot about the purity of the connection of all and the oneness. And so, add in density, add in conflict. Is there lessons and growth there? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so part of that experience, eventually there was the creation of this planet, which the Palladians wanted to be able to explore and have their involvement in the humanoid bodies, mixing around and playing and creating these bodies. Of course, it wasn't just the theory and hopes and plans for this planet wasn't going to be, was supposed to be untampered with. This experiment was supposed to not be hijacked. And it was supposed to have better balance and not this density. And unfortunately, things didn't go to plan. And it seems like now all of those collectives and species that were living on that dragon planet have all come together now to be reminded now of unity and connection. So it's not just, humans or the Palladians and the reptilians that are playing this game out now. There is many collectives here, many starseeds here that are all representing those growths and communities and collectives and species on that dragon planet. Now we're talking, I have no idea the expansion of years in this experience. And so it's super significant, the lessons here now, because the Arcturians want to complete and graduate and move on from this project. And so what I understood was my higher self has been involved in creating the new Earth and other planets for other experiences, not just for the humanoids, not just for humans, not just for the Arcturians. So it's really exciting to have this profound insight perspective of the journey of the history. I was not expecting this extreme history lesson and understanding. Now, Kitty has not listened to, it's not possible for her to listen to my private sessions. They're not private. They're not public. And so for me sitting here listening to her speaking about stuff that it was even new to her, so it wasn't like she's, it was just very interesting, very, very interesting and very cool and extreme high perspective of the information. And so how does that impact Joe today? Well, I understand now why it is that I can connect into consciousnesses of people who are on this planet, who have ever been on this planet. Because part of my job as being the Arcturian Council member is life contracts. I know life contracts. I know people's life contracts because I've worked with them. Why it hasn't been Joe working with it? It is a bigger soul essence of me that is very familiar with it. I'm not hiding anything from myself, so when I choose to be able to understand people more, I get this information. So I have access to other people's consciousnesses because this is it's part of the work that I have done, and so this is really interesting. And so part of one of the things I did recall was sitting on the steps, feeling and being within Jesus when he had the epiphany that it was his exit point soon, that he couldn't help humanity any more than he had already had because of their own choices and he had to release his responsibilities of hoping that they would choose to trust him and trust the messages and empower themselves to grow. And it was a bizarre experience for me, but it changed me because I got to feel in his insights. And so as the Arcturian part of me, I was one of his guides. And so I got to experience within him what that Arcturian guide and a whole lot of other guides were sharing with him in that epiphany. It was a really interesting experience, and because I'm still very 3D and just in this human body, I am able to connect into the consciousnesses of all who I am allowed to. This is why I can channel all. It is a peculiar experience to have, but
Wow.
I understand why now so much more. And so it was interesting because those beings who are underneath that Arcturian in the council, it's the guide for them. The whole thing, I mean, I know this isn't ego-based information because it wasn't coming from me, and it's not really about Joe at all. It is about the other multidimensional beings, aspects of me. I'm of course the toenail of that higher self. I'm proud of it. But now I can understand, and also what I wanted to share with you, Erin, as well. I don't know if I've ever told this publicly. But 2 years ago, I as I was waking up, I heard this very firm voice say to me, Joanna's going to die in a week. And of course, when you wake up hearing a very firm voice, like it was the voice inside the room, it got my attention. And I asked in a session about this, and they were like, oh, it's just a small part of your ego dying. Don't worry about it. And I was like, at that point, I was like, oh, good, because egos are bad. Like no one wants an ego, because I didn't understand actually what an ego was, which is personality. It is part of your essence of who you are. We have strong personalities and big egos and small egos, and I've channeled about this, about seeing the ego as an organ, and it needs to be in beautiful balance and harmony. And sometimes people have different parts of that ego inflated, where they may think they've got information that they've learnt, which is makes them feel pride. And the ego isn't, it is, everyone has it. It's a human expression. It's a human interpretation of all of your experiences in this lifetime. If you've been beaten down, your ego looks beaten down. If you have an over-inflated sense of self, then you're going to have bubbles, and it's what I mean. So 2 years ago, we learnt that I had an extra, so part of my smaller ego, part of my smaller self walked out and left, and then the bigger part of the Arcturian came in. So having that, it's very, very interesting, and it makes so much sense why suddenly my life got profoundly activated. And it kind of coincides with realizing that I really found this work. I instantly loved and adored Dolores Cannon without a doubt, but it was so much more than that. About this integrity of this work and the power of this work, and knowing that this is tapping through to a much bigger perspective of the actual truth. And when you've always grown up feeling like there is not much actual truth of the meaning of life and the purpose of life and why we're experiencing all these things, it makes a lot of sense. So
Wow, how's that for a wake-up call?
Yeah. Thoughts, questions?
I'm just so in awe. I'm just so I love I know it's like one of my 3 things I say, but the breadcrumbing that they do, and that it's a puzzle that we're putting together in our little 3D brains here. Um, you're profoundly activated, which profoundly activates other people. And then, as an example, Kitty is profoundly activated overnight. She can just hang out in the Akashic records, no problem. Um, and she's able to explain or validate this big picture information that you maybe consciously knew, maybe not. Anyway, and then now here we are talking about it, and we're going to share this publicly to explain what's going on, and why, and how do we get here. So I think it's amazing how they just lay the pieces in front of us like this, and just this whole journey has been just so exciting and so much fun. And I feel so honored to be on this journey with you and with our other friends and just with everyone. I'm just kind of in awe and just so proud.
Proud of everyone here who has chosen to come here to help humanity at this time, remembering that the starseeds who wanted to come and assist and help with the original beings who are here having their very first physical 3D lives on Earth, very significant.
Yes, definitely. And it's so exciting seeing them grow and expand. It's awesome.
So what I learned is that part of, I don't know whether you could call it my soul family, but on my original home planet, one of the beings there chose to have an experience of being the planet Earth. And so I do have a profound, deep respect and love for Gaia because,
Oh,
yeah,
because I was like, why is she so? It made me feel bad. I was like, man, it's because I didn't recycle when I was younger. I'm an asshole. But no, it's just you have a profound connection. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
it was so emotional that both Kitty and I were
Oh,
crying because it was like recognizing why we have um, that connection. It's so interesting, and of course, the Turians who have been guiding this planet for all this time. They want to go on to new projects. They want to create their own planets from all the lessons and experiences that they've learned here now. And some of them want to be to be a physical planet and have that experience, which is, I think, after what we've seen with Gaia, it's like, Jesus, that's a pretty fucking brave choice, but
I want to see it from their perspective. Like, I don't know. It must be pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah. It was interesting because the way she sort of said it was like, so you've got options, you could go and explore more, or you could be, embodying a planet yourself, which I think actually, this sounds strange, but this is actually kind of like a goal. Is to be that. It's, like we want to experience all. So why not embody a life as being a planet?
Wow. So that's on the table.
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
it's sort of like um, everyone is having all these different experiences and learning to then have this. It seems like you want to experience all, just like how when Dolores Cannon was experiencing people who were just had so many different lifetimes here. She really believed that the original humans, if you're going to have a first dimensional life cycle experience, you want to experience all: a rock, grass, a tree, and kind of graduate up that way. And so you want to experience all in a third dimensional planet. All, everything. And so while we think, what the heck are you going to learn from being a rock? But it's an experience. We can't judge it. We can't understand it. But if you're a new soul and you're wanting to experience everything, you would literally have to be everything.
Wow. So, okay, so tell me about the your session, or keep going with the session.
Okay, so which was really interesting because she sort of said when she taps into me, she doesn't see just one being, she sees a group. And so it's the group of five.
Now,
The group
is
of,
that normal?
well, I think because we're just a really close family. You know, like it could be, is it a split from a higher self? And so that they've kind of fractaled out. But it's what she sort of said was, you know, all the higher selves. So, you know, the higher self is a fractal of source. And so everything keeps breaking down, breaking down, breaking down into smaller parts of self for different experiences. And then as things are shifting and expanding and moving on to newer high frequency experiences, um, so that, you know, everything kind of gets absorbed back into the higher self or to the subconscious. It's a really, really layered, complex information that I'm sure there's even so much more than what we even got to hear and understand, and I'm still processing it myself. And so from my home planet, there was a group of us that wanted to go and support Arcturus. And so it was the five of us supporting Arcturus. And so this is from my understanding, so, you know, I'm still processing it. And so it's like we are such a tight unit. And I guess that's what forms the council. I'm not too sure about that. Obviously, it's not me personally, Joe. But they were the guides for Arcturus. And remember how, you know, we've been asking subconsciouses, and they're like, oh, I'm a guide to heaps of people, you know, and it's not even a part of themselves. It's kind of, I guess, you know, you're a teacher and you have all these students in your class. You're not the mother to them, but, you know,
Yeah.
you are, you know, you're guiding them, and then, you know, they graduate and you get a new set of class kids and, you know, students. So it is really interesting. And so yeah, it's mind bending, but bizarrely it resonates with all the other pieces of the information I've been getting from my other sessions that obviously Kitty doesn't have privy to. So it was like, that makes so much sense of the soul's other experiences, knowing I am still a very tiny part in my 3D world, experiencing this life, and that's all I mean, what they were saying is, you know, when people merge into New Earth, all of your sort of 3D counterparts and essences all merge together. And this is a very can be a very uncomfortable information for people to hear, because it's like, no, I'm just me. You know, let's say, for example, if I had that mindset of, what? No, I'm Joe. I'm not going to be merged into anyone else. Ooh, yuck, strangers, you know, but it really isn't strangers. It's really all the other 3D essences of you. You actually are all connected into each other anyway. You just don't realize how much unity there is with your soul fragments. And so it actually feels very familiar. You've heard in sessions people merging in with others who go to the new earth, and so you're you know, 3D is a tiny aspect of you. When you go to the fifth dimension, you kind of collect all of your 3D versions of self to be formulated into that fifth dimensional being, because you can hold more frequency essence of yourself. You can hold more soul fragments of yourself. The ultimate all versions of fragments of self is your higher self. The ultimate of all is source, going back and being complete source.
Yeah, that's a mind pretzel.
It was interesting because at one point, because part of me was wanting to know, it was weird. It was like they kind of took me on a journey, both of us on a journey, and I realized what I was saying sounded really weird. I was saying, I want to know what's me? What part of it is Joe? What part of this is me? What is my, you know, what soul experiences have I had to be able to create this version of Joe? And am I even able to really just say Joe? Like, what part of it is me? And I realized I got really like emotional because I was like, I just want to know who I am. Who am I? You know, like I understand the Arcturian guide and Arcturian council, but I don't resonate with those. That's not me, really, because I'm still Joe. This is Joe's life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of like, am I allowed to have ownership of who I am as me? And, you know, it was kind of like trying to find what small aspect is just myself. And it was the weirdest thing because it's like by trying to find out who I am as a singular being, I am turning my back on the unity of who I truly am. And so it's like I'm trying to figure out who I am to feel complete and whole. And yet, when you do it by yourself, you're alone. And this is why we have to go within to connect to all, because me is all. That is the profound unity. And that's why we feel so lost, because we're separated from each other. We're separated from the all. We wanted to have amnesia. We wanted to forget who we were and have this very simple one experience of having free will, being an individual person. Disconnected, really truly disconnected from all at some point when you don't realize we're all one. And so when we're trying to discover who we are, we grow and develop ourselves individually. But the reality is what we're truly seeking to be is back with all, to be one.
Yeah, that makes sense. The homesickness feeling is you.
Yeah, and so what I blurted out while I was crying when I was listening to Kitty's session with me, us, was I miss me, and it's not Miss Joe. I miss being all. I miss the feeling of that unity of all, even though I labeled it and titled it as me. It truly is the group that is my soul family, is truly the unity of all.
Wow. How did they answer your question?
Well, I was just thinking and feeling it, and then Kitty just started off saying, it was a group of us wanted to separate and split off from source to be able to remember what it was, to forget who we were. In order to forget who we were, we discovered ourselves.
Wow. Wow. So it feels like a big check mark on that one then.
Yeah, it was just really intriguing. It was just such a profound epiphany moment of it's never really who am I, it is who are we. And we is me and me is you, and it's just this, like, I've heard them say, oh, we're all one, and I think, God's sake, I'm sick of hearing it, because I've never felt it before. I never resonated and understood what we are all one was. You know, it's like, oh, sure, we're like cousins. You know, no, we're not cousins. You know, we are all part of the equal. We're the sum of all. It's I can't explain it any better than that, I guess. But in that session, the epiphany was the feeling of unity of all and being one, and realizing that all our individual experiences were the sum totality of the experience on earth, for example. And so it was It wasn't us all competing individually our own lives. It was us independently having all these different experiences to return it back to be the greater unity of all.
Wow. And I feel like this can be broadened out even further. Like, can't you say that about all the, I mean, what you said about your wholeness, your being, your higher self? Can't that also be said for like the Earth Project and all the collectives? We
All.
wanted to have, yeah, all the experiences from all angles
Yes. Even
for for everyone.
yes. And so remember how, Gaia loved all beings. And we were listening to that session thinking, oh, does she not know about reptilians? Like in our in our immaturity on this journey, I really got triggered, and I got triggered. I really struggled with that when it was a Karen B session, and she was, channeling Gaia through the session, and I was in that. I was hearing what she was saying, which is like, I love all the beings here. And I was like, yeah, that's cute and all, very balanced and mature of you. However, some of those beings are profoundly destroying and challenging and triggering and harming the other beings. Can you not, like, look, you've got naughty kids in your classroom. Deal with them, because there's some good kids here that are wanting to try and learn. What I totally missed was that all children in that classroom are learning. All. And so while I wanted to be like telling on the naughty kids to Gaia so she can make them stop and, call recess and class over, everyone has to graduate if you're ready or not, I got triggered to really settle my nonsense out to see the bigger perspective. If Gaia can love all, I can too. And I need to be able to make peace with whatever I'm judging, because that was lowering my vibration. And so then Source just recently also said he's waiting for everyone to love all. Love is always the key. We need to focus on that. Stop separating ourselves from medical choices. Stop separating ourselves from the location of where we live. Stop separating ourselves from our gender or our religions or our belief systems. Stop comparing each other and seeing we're unity of all is what Source would like us to do.
Wow.
Are you there yet, Erin?
I'm there. I think it's so incredible that that your Akashic Records reading gave you this epiphany, which is just a reflection of what this whole experience is about right now. Loving all.
Yeah, the epiphany.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the epiphany of that session was profound. I was not expecting that level of. I mean, they obviously knew the pieces that I hadn't still fitted together, which was much more bigger history of this planet, and other planets and how it all fitted in, and I feel now I have a bigger perspective of the situation here at hand. I was always focusing on Earth and moving forward from this, really unique experience of the shifting and the evolution of the three-dimensional humanitarians, those originals who have had all lifetimes here on this planet, including the rocks, including the air, including all of the experiences. They have worked really hard to have been diligently exploring all of these lessons and experiences that Earth has to offer. And this is why we are still waiting for them to really have all of the unique experiences that they need. The whole thing is so beautifully delicious, and information and concepts and understanding, and it is so fantastically beautiful timing for me to really work on this. And the other epiphanies that I got was that because I have this interesting connection to the collectives, because the collectives all took advice from the Arcturian Council member, that they are all very open to still listening and respecting the connection that I have to my I don't want to say it's subconscious, it's a small, it's another version, it's not the higher self, but it is a different dimensional being that I think is above the subconscious. So I think that's what I'm understanding. And so, because we are multidimensional beings, it's not just source, higher self, subconscious, and us. There is many different layers, many different Russian dolls. So it's so interesting. So anyway, what they were saying is that the collectives all work underneath the Arcturian Council member, and so they are wanting to provide the information to that Arcturian Council member, and so that's why they are listening and supporting these sessions and giving information to us and collecting information from us. They collect information from us. So it's really interesting how it all is connected. And so what they have said is that they would like more access open to the channeling. So I could ask them questions. They are open for me to ask questions, but they actually just want the channel open because they've actually got a lot of information they want to share with us. They know what the most appropriate information for all listening is. There is many collectives supporting this and giving information to all who are listening. And so it's really interesting because now I realize I don't have to panic and worry about what's the most appropriate questions I need to ask them. It's just trusting, give us the most appropriate information that we need to hear today. And so what I've realized is they want me to be more focused on that channeling side and to just sort of take a step back from doing sessions with others. And they want to do more regular channeling, maybe smaller level, like smaller times of, rather than a whole hour of listening, they may just have a smaller information they want us to hear and sort of have it as that. So big changes, and I can see the significance and purpose of it. There's so much information already expressed in all of the sessions. And it's like because we've got to this complete stage of information, there's nothing really, there is new information that is not being shared publicly, but that's not for all to experience. It's really talking about the old earth experience. And so that information is just a distraction for those who aren't even going to be here, and they are still seeing that many people still struggle to understand and respect that they need to profoundly love themselves. They're still holding back to some degree. And once you open yourself to loving yourself, respecting yourself, then you are much more easily able to love others and respect others. And so instead of them giving us more advanced information, they're like, hold on just a minute. We know you're all keen to hear this other details of information, but you are distracting yourself with that other information. Let's look back at where you're at with your inner work, and let's remind you this is a fantastic opportunity to start profoundly loving self. Not just in the weekends, not just as a hobby, fully respecting self, which is respecting what you eat, respecting what you consume and your mindsets, it's not just, oh, I love myself, hugs. No, it's a genuine, actual way of living, not a hobby.
So how did you feel when they said we would like to change our approach? How did it make you feel? Because from this angle, it seems like a graduation kind of.
Yeah, it's like a complete cycle. They've got all the information.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the information. Yes, you could keep hearing how different people travel to the new earth or go to other places or go home or whatever. And I would love everyone who feels like, what? No, I want more sessions of hearing other people's journeys to New Earth. I then would love to invite everyone to find your local QHHT practitioner intern who is free and have your own sessions. And make sure that that practitioner puts a key code in with you, because then you can do more sessions, including more sessions potentially with me. And so while they don't want me to do too many more full sessions with individual clients, because it does take a lot of time to do those sessions, and they would prefer it for me to have a much better home balance with enjoying this last time with my family here in our house, in our country. Like they're actually sort of saying, allow yourself, Joe, to actually enjoy more of being human.
Oh.
We've got this time and window, and they are sort of saying, yeah, it was beautiful. Like, I would just love for everyone, to really go and support your local interns. They love Dolores. They wouldn't be signing up to do this course if they didn't love Dolores. You've got that in common. Support them, because often petitioners, they actually are also don't have any family or friends really that they can talk about this sort of stuff with. And so there is something that's irked them into doing the course. Usually it's Dolores Cannon herself nudging people to be curious enough to want to find the bigger purpose and truth of all. And so please, 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 and not just stop at one local intern practitioner. Find all of them. Support all of them. They're not asking for money. They can't ask for money as interns, but they can love to just spend time with you and to be able to be open to hearing your questions and have a journey with you. Even people who have had sessions and paid by like top level 3 practitioners, go and still find your local interns. They still need your help. This is part of you helping them. And so, use each other's passions to help humanity by going and being of service. And, I wonder even if I need to also find my local practitioners, interns to, oh God, what to say?
You're giving yourself more homework assignments. Oh, typical Joe.
Oh, no, I just like, yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting for them to have a session with anyone that's been listening to these sessions, right? Like, this is literally what they've ever hoped to have and hear in sessions. Remembering, remembering that I feel like so many advanced people listening to these sessions, really know how these sessions work, and so you could actually lovingly support new practitioners who may be nervous about, oh no, my friend, New Earth is already here. Lovingly say to them, I still would like you to ask my subconscious this question, please, and explore it. Don't be afraid of the answers. Be open to all. I remember being very scared at the beginning, having to ask some of these questions that my clients were asking, because I didn't know if I wanted to hear the information. So remembering new interns are very new at this, and I would trust that a lot of these people listening to these sessions would be their dream clients, and so nurture them, support them, and help them on their journey as well.
Great idea. Love it.
Yeah. Well, it's never been about follow me, listen to my sessions, do what I say. It is about sharing my journey. And I'm still 3D, I'm still growing. And I just want to say thank you to those people who have allowed me to be me and to grow. And there have been some amazing people on my journey.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm really excited, to let things unravel as they will, and just complete peace, just happiness, and just so proud of everyone and their growth and their own expansion. It's really exciting to be able to step into that encouragement role. So thank you for all of your time to allow us to step into our support roles.
Hmm. I I can see the purpose and significance of my role. Um, and it is kind of, it's still kind of mind blowing. But I don't, I guess my only sort of hang up would be, did I do enough? And it was something, I mean, I've always sort of worried about it. Am I doing enough? I'm exploring it enough? Am I asking questions enough? And I've really over worried about, like, oh my gosh, why didn't we help these collectives earlier, and kicking myself for not being enough. And it was interesting because that was the message yesterday. And it was just a nice reminder that we are enough. Everything we do to try and help humanity is the best of our capabilities. And that's all they can ask from us. Never give up. Keep moving forward. Find your joy. Find your empowerment. All of these sessions are to help everyone. Everyone. And I'm so proud of my own personal growth in this journey. And I only wish that for everyone else.
Absolutely.
Plus, I was super excited to hear about new planets, and it was interesting because what they were sort of saying was, the Arcturus was the template. It was a really successful, beautiful template, and they wanted to experience it, different experiences from that, but in a third dimensional rate. I don't think Arcturus is a third dimensional planet. Guessing here. And so it was like they wanted differences and different experiences. So, Earth was created and didn't go to plan. And so this is why New Earth is super special, super sacred, because this is going to be the the original plan of how it was supposed to go. While there is no 3D component on New Earth, it is the completion of the natural cycle of a physical planet. All physical planets are supposed to start off being, to evolve into non-physical experiences. It's supposed to be the complete experiences of it all, is what I'm understanding. So this is why, and I learned some really interesting things. I'm just going to share in a private session. Even the navigators of the ships don't know where the location of New Earth is. It is that secret. And there are going to be beings on the ships who can track those who are on the New Earth, who found their way through because of they've used portals or their own ships to get to the New Earth. This is how protected where New Earth is.
Yes.
Yeah. It's super, yeah. And so anyway, yeah, like the whole session, I'm gonna see if I can, I don't know if I need to make it public. Um, I know lots of people would benefit actually hearing it as it was expressed, but maybe maybe this will encourage people to have their own Akashic records with Kitty, because it was so profound, and
Dude,
everyone will
yeah.
have their own history of self. And of course, there may be others who are part of the Turing Council. That's fantastic and very possible. It's very possible that people listening are a soul essence of me as well, like a split of my subconscious. Like, all
Mhm.
possibilities are real. All
Yeah.
possibilities. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Katie and I are the same higher self
the same higher self.
and subconscious, yes.
That's
So
interesting.
it's definitely possible.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know that you were.
Yeah.
I knew that you were the same. I knew you were the same subconscious. I don't know if I knew the higher self, but when I
hmm
when I asked the subconscious, has the subconscious always been your subconscious? What was his response?
Yes. And he's always been my subconscious in all lifetimes, in all my forms.
Does that mean that when you guys get to the new earth, you would absorb into each other?
No, she's going somewhere. I mean, we got two totally different roles. She's doing that portal thing. I'm not. I'm staying there.
So interesting. And so, I mean, it's just, we're all one. It's just fascinating. But oh my gosh, like so exciting, so profound, and I just cannot recommend enough if you are still trying to figure out who you are to then get yourself back into understanding we are all one. Highly recommend, finding that. We have time still. So, don't think that things are. We have enough time, shall I say, for everyone to get their own sessions to profoundly do all of their inner work, release everything that no longer serves them, serving humanity. That's how long we have. So get going, do your inner work, and we will be there faster for those people who are still impatient.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing about your reading. That was really exciting.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I feel like I was so grateful for all of these other versions of self, because it's incredible what they've gone through. I don't identify with myself being part of that, but I'm grateful for everything that has gone on beforehand to help this evolutional growth and experiences, and I can see the bigger picture, and it is profound. It is so profound.
Yeah. So
Okay, thank you
cool.
very much.
Awesome.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.